This video was brought to you by the letters
C,
B,
E,
and the numbers
3, 4,
5.
Made with our educational support partners in mind, I'm Brian Singley, and I approve this message. Awesome. So, why would we do this at Beaver Valley, or why did we do this?
Great question. It really helps us identify and fill the educational gaps more efficiently, while allowing us to enrich with intention, give individualized and specific learning approaches that allow students to see and understand what is done. It's comparable to a syllabus that you would see in college, but for general education.
And CBE is meeting the kids where they are, giving them exact targets, and it's really what we've already been doing for our SPED, our special education, and our GT students.
So where are we at now?
Well, with our last professional development day, we were so excited because we actually got into Empower. So we were able to see all of the fruits of our labor in a very concise program. It was easy to get in, manipulate. I was able to enter some lessons and even put in some pieces of evidence and targets. And Empower, no pun intended, but is very empowering.
So how do we feel about this professionally? I mean, we are the educators, so
And that's
how do we
the
feel
key.
about that?
And that's the key. We are the educators, we are the professionals. We have studied best practices for education and what's best to serve all of our students. So we also should not be afraid to continue to grow and learn. That's what makes us good educators. When we look at competency-based education and then being able to report those competencies out with the framework of Empower, we just feel like we're going to be able to better notify both students and their parents of where children are exactly and where they need in order to continue to grow. We're going to need that consistency over time. We're going to need to continue to work with this and revise it, because first blush probably isn't good enough. We'll have to continue to revamp it, I guess would be the word.
Fine tune it.
Fine tune it.
And it's just best practice.
Yes.
It's good teaching.
It's got kids at heart. Kids are at the center of it all. And not that they're not now, it's just it's a better way to present and to track and target kids. Track and target kids.
And get kids involved in their
Absolutely.
education.
Yeah.
More so than,
Now,
yeah,
Than
they
now.
can see it.
Yes. They can become part of it as they're looking at it through Empower. They're a more active participant instead of a receiver of grades.
Right.
So,
oh, and Tammy and Nicole actually have done a full pilot with Empower for ELA over this past year, and actually they dabbled in it last spring. But I think they will even attest to it that they've had a lot of success and realized some things they need to change, but
Yeah, no, we did it last year without Empower. The whole competency-based thing, Empower makes it so much easier to group kids and to track that data, but we're seeing the same positive things that we had without Empower when we started working on it. We've seen that continue on to this year too. So it's been continuous positive feedback and growth through using CBE in our classroom.
so we'll go a tiny little bit off of our paper here, but Miss Luce, why would you be involved in this? Because I think that makes for an interesting part of the story. So now you're a champion, but it wasn't always so.
No, I really started looking into CBE with the intent of proving that it was a horrible idea that should never be done. When it was first pitched to us, I didn't like it at all, and I wanted to be very informed when I educated the idiocy behind the plan. So I gathered I just started doing research so I could be very well informed, and it backfired on me horribly, because the more I learned about it and the more I researched on it, the more I realized it was actually a pretty good thing. Took the wind out of my sails. I was ready to go and, all amped up to prove everybody that it was a bad idea. And instead I realized that it's really done wonders in the classroom, and I really like it. So yeah, definitely did a 180 on that.
And I'll just add, since you won't often toot your own horn, you're no slouch at research, so you've got some skill.
Yes.
So what are our positives so far then, at this point?
I think Nicole and I have seen growth across the board in our classroom, as far as kids, how they're performing. They're really taking ownership in their learning. They're seeing that their efforts directly impact their understanding, and so they're beginning to take pride and ownership in that, rather than, I think, like Marcia said, being receivers. They're partners in it, which is nice.
Just starting the whole process of, like, we've been practicing with the kids the levels, and they have to master certain things before they can move up, and I think that alone just really helps the kids get invested more. They get excited about moving up, they take more ownership, and then if they don't understand something and we have to move on, Empower helps us track that. So now it's identified gaps. We don't have to guess what the child is missing or that they already have this down. So it just really helps us to be able to target instruction better. And I will be the first to tell you that this change is horribly scary. It's not a huge difference in what we do, because we still teach, we still do the same things, but as far as like the mind shift of the different program and the 2s and the 3s and all that goes into it, it is scary, and it takes some risk, but that risk far outweighs the fear, because the kids just they're growing more, they're excited, we do little certificates when they move up a level, and they get excited about that. I've seen way more positives with this than the negatives.
We've even had kids who, they'll get excited for their chance to prove, and last year we had kids who would ask us, we called them skill checks, like, is it a skill check? Do we get because they're ready to show what they've learned, and to have kids excited to demonstrate their learning is really, it's fun to work with in that environment.
I'm gonna chime in there because that's what makes me excited about it. Our teaching hasn't changed, what we do, what we assess hasn't changed, but when I hear them speak, that gets me excited when kids wanna take ownership of their learning, because that's our job. We're teaching them to be learners, and that's exciting.
To me, it's kind of been seamless, because I have a few kids in my gifted group from their room, and in my room we're working on novel writing, and one of the standards is story elements for 5th grade, and so they plan their novel in my room, and Tammy's like, oh, we can use that as a piece of evidence for Empower. And so she gave me a quick outline. So I told my 5th grade students, I said, okay, your teacher's gonna use this for a piece of evidence. Take what you wrote here and add it to this quick outline to give to your teacher, and they did it in seconds. I didn't have to give any directions. They knew exactly what it was for. They knew why they were doing it. It was just, I just appreciated that seamless between 2 different areas, 2 different classrooms.
Yeah, many of the things that we're doing aren't changing. It's just how we record it and we show the parents or the kids what we're doing. So instead of them just not knowing what's going on until they get their paper back, they know where they're at sooner. They can check their progress. They can see how much farther or what else they need to do quickly, seamlessly, easily, really, and they can even see how far they've come.
So that brings up a couple of important points that we'll end this video with. Most kids love their teachers. Most parents, because of that, like their kids' teachers. So I'll ask a few questions that everybody here already knows the answers to. Colorado standards. We've been teaching those here for years, correct?
Yes.
So a couple years ago, we created UBDs, units by design. So did somebody from somewhere else come in here and create UBDs for you?
No.
Who created those UBDs?
We did.
How did you create
Blood,
them?
sweat, and tears.
Long, hard, blood, sweat, and tears filled hours.
Based on new stuff you were going to teach, or based on the stuff that you teach?
Based on the stuff we teach and the standards as a basis.
Are you still maintaining those UBDs?
Yes.
I can see that you enjoy that part. Good. Enjoying your work is a good thing. So when you created proficiencies, where did the proficiencies come from?
The UBDs.
So the
Standards.
UBDs came from the standards, and the proficiencies came from the UBDs. And you created those,
Yes.
not me.
Correct.
No.
Making it sound like I don't do much work around here. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, unless anybody has anything further to say, I really appreciate your time. One of the reasons that we made this video is this is just a little sliver of the people that you see here on camera, but all of them have done a great deal of work, and they'll stand by that. And let's be thoughtful when we make decisions around their body of work.
Yeah.
And I'm Brian Singley, and I approve this message.
Right.